Welcome back. We're diving back into the humble self-concept method.
That's right.
Last time we were looking at step 1,
Yeah.
and we were figuring out
Mm-hmm.
if our mindsets kind of lean more towards shame or pride.
Hey.
And today we're going to be tackling step 2,
Okay.
which is this fascinating idea of the target humble self-concept,
Yes.
THSC for short.
It's really a powerful tool for building genuine self-worth.
Okay.
Like imagine having this foundation that doesn't just crumble under pressure.
Right.
One that can help you face challenges with more resilience and more self-compassion.
Yeah.
That's the potential of the THSC.
Okay. I'm intrigued. But before we get too far into it,
Sure.
let's break it down a little bit,
Yeah.
what it actually is.
Okay.
It's a kind of a dense statement, right?
It is a dense statement, but it's worth unpacking.
Okay.
Because every word is carefully chosen.
All right.
So the THSC states, I may fail at anything and may fail to notice I am failing, but I am the type of person who imperfectly tries to be what they currently consider a good person. For that, what I am has worth whether I am failing or not, and I can always be proud of my imperfect attempt, including when limitations out of my conscious control sabotage it. That absolute self-worth and self-esteem justify all possible self-compassion, such as self-forgiveness, patience, desiring and attempting to seek changes in my life, and establishing and maintaining healthy boundaries against harm others, or I might try to cause myself, including attempts to invalidate this maximally humble self-concept as a way of being made to feel shame, guilt, or embarrassment for their sake, more than I intend to use these feelings to help me grow. It's a mouthful.
It is a mouthful. But what stands out to me the most right away is that acceptance of imperfection.
Yes.
Like it's built in from the beginning.
Yeah, that's one of the key things that sets the THSC apart from the type of self-concept that we tend to develop on our own, a lot of us without realizing it.
Yeah.
We tie our worth to achievements, to praise, or how well we fit in.
Right. It's a good grades, good job, good looks trap.
Exactly.
Yeah, we've all been there.
Right, and the problem is those things are constantly changing.
Right.
They're fleeting.
They are.
Which leaves us on shaky ground.
Yeah.
So the THSC is trying to shift the focus inward and saying my worth comes from the fact that I'm striving to be a good person, regardless of my successes or failures.
So even if I totally mess up, even if I don't achieve some sort of external marker of success,
that's right.
My worth,
your worth
remains intact.
Yes.
That's a powerful shift.
It's a powerful shift in perspective.
Yeah, it is. And it's that shift that allows for genuine self-compassion.
Yes.
Because when your worth isn't on the line all the time, you can afford to be a little kinder to yourself.
Exactly.
When you stumble. Now, I am curious about how this works practically.
Okay.
Like, how do we use the THSC in our everyday lives? It can't just be about memorizing this long statement.
No, it's not about rote memorization.
Okay.
One way to integrate the THSC is to use it as a self-compassion break.
Okay.
So imagine you're facing a setback. You've made a mistake. And those negative thoughts start spiraling.
Oh, I know that feeling so well.
Right.
Yeah.
It's easy to get caught in that loop of self-criticism.
Yes, it is.
But in those moments, you can pause.
Okay.
Take a deep breath. And remind yourself of the core message of the THSC. Okay, I may have messed up.
Right.
But I'm still the type of person who's trying to be good.
Yeah.
And that's worthy of my compassion.
So it's like a mental script.
It is like a mental script.
To counter those automatic negative thoughts that we all have.
Yeah, it's like
a way to kind of interrupt that spiral.
Exactly. It's a way to interrupt that spiral of self-doubt. And the more you practice this, the more it can become second nature.
Okay.
It's like building a mental muscle for self-compassion.
Right.
Over time, you'll find yourself automatically accessing the sense of inherent worth.
Okay.
Even in those challenging moments,
Yeah.
So it's really about,
building that up.
Building it up.
Yeah, okay.
So, and the more you practice that,
yeah,
the more you cultivate that self-compassion,
Uh-huh.
the less reliant you become on those pesky cognitive defense mechanisms.
Oh, those defense mechanisms like denial and rationalization,
Exactly.
projecting blame onto others.
Yeah.
We're all
guilty of those sometimes.
Yeah, for sure.
Right. They're like our mind's way of
Yeah.
protecting us from these uncomfortable feelings. That's especially when our sense of worth feels threatened.
When we're operating from that fragile, externally validated self-concept.
Exactly.
Even like the slightest criticism can feel like a major attack.
It can feel like a major attack on our identity.
Right.
And that's when those defense mechanisms kick in.
Yeah.
Trying to shield us from that pain.
Yeah, trying to protect us.
But the THSC is like a buffer.
Okay.
It's like an emotional shock absorber.
So it's like, hey, my worth isn't tied to being perfect.
Yes.
So I don't need to freak out.
Exactly.
When I make a mistake.
Exactly. You're able to acknowledge your flaws, your shortcomings, without feeling like your entire world is collapsing.
Yeah.
And that allows you to be more open to feedback.
Okay.
To learn from your experiences. Yeah. And to grow as a person.
So instead of just being like, oh, no, this is a problem, or blaming somebody else, I can be like, okay, I messed up. What can I learn?
Exactly. That's the power of the THSC.
Okay.
It creates a space for honest self-reflection and growth.
Okay.
Because it allows us to detach our worth from our performance.
This is kind of reminding me of what we were talking about a while ago with the self-validation dynamics framework.
Yeah.
That validation abundance idea.
Exactly.
There's a connection there.
There's a strong connection there.
Yeah.
Validation abundance is all about recognizing your inherent worth.
Yeah.
Regardless of external factors. And that's exactly what the THSC creates.
It's like having this internal wellspring of validation that you can tap into.
That you can always tap into, no matter what.
No matter what's going on.
Exactly. And the beauty of this is that it frees you from that constant need to prove yourself.
Right.
To seek external validation.
Yeah.
It allows you to show up more authentically in your relationships, in your work, in every aspect of your life.
So for our listeners who are really trying to grasp the practical implications, let's kind of bring it down to earth a bit.
Sure.
Imagine you're faced with a difficult decision. Maybe it's a career change or a relationship dilemma, anything that feels really high stakes.
Yeah.
How do you think the THSC could help guide those choices?
That's a fantastic question.
Yeah.
So when you're operating from the THSC, your decisions are less likely to be driven by that fear of failure or the need to please others.
Because you're not so worried about messing up.
Exactly.
Or what people will think.
You're not as worried about what other people will think. Instead, you can tap into your values, your intuition, and make choices that are truly aligned with your truest self.
So even if the decision turns out to be wrong in some way, you can still feel okay.
Exactly.
Because you know you made it from a place of integrity.
Exactly.
Self-compassion.
The THSC allows you to embrace the unknown.
Yeah.
To take risks and to trust that even if things don't go according to plan, your worth remains intact.
And
that kind of freedom is truly liberating.
Yeah. Yeah, it's almost like the THSC gives you this internal compass that can guide you towards making choices that really align with what you believe in.
That are truly aligned with your values.
Yeah.
And you're not as swayed by the external pressures or the fear of judgment.
And that brings us back to this idea of the humble self-concept method.
Yes.
It's all about being more resilient and compassionate.
Exactly. And back in step 1, we explored, whether our mindset leans more towards shame or pride. And I'm seeing how the THSC fits into that bigger picture.
Right.
Regardless of your starting point, the THSC offers a path towards greater self-acceptance and self-compassion.
So if I tend to be super self-critical.
Right. If you tend to be overly self-critical, the THC reminds you that you are worthy, even in your imperfections.
And if I tend to be overly judgmental of others, the THSC can help me extend that same compassion.
It can help you extend that same compassion outward.
Outward, okay.
It's about recognizing that we're all on this journey of being human with all of its messiness and complexities. And by embracing our own imperfection, we can create more space for understanding and compassion in our interactions with others.
It's wild how just kind of shifting our self-concept.
It's truly transformative.
Can have these ripple effects.
Ripple effects on our lives and relationships.
Into the rest of our lives.
Absolutely.
So as we continue to explore the humble self-concept method, remember that the THSC is always...
It's a tool you can always return to.
There for you to come back to. It's like that solid foundation we talked about.
Exactly. It's that solid foundation that can support us as we navigate the ups and downs of life.
Okay, so as we wrap up step 2,
Yes.
Give me that.
All right. I want to leave you with this question to ponder.
Okay.
Imagine for a moment that you fully embody
All right.
the THSC. How would your relationships change?
Okay.
Your work, your inner dialogue.
Okay.
What possibilities would open up if you truly believed in your inherent worth, regardless of your achievements or failures?
I think I would be less afraid to take risks.
Okay.
More willing to be vulnerable. And more forgiving of myself and others.
Yeah.
I think my inner critic
Yes.
would finally get to go on vacation.
That's the beauty of the THSC.
Yeah.
It has the potential to transform not only how we see ourselves, but how we experience the world around us.
It's an invitation to be more free, more resilient, and to really experience self-love.
Exactly.
I'm excited to continue exploring this.
Me too. And to all our listeners, we encourage you to join us on this path of self-discovery.
Until next time.
Keep diving deep.